Greetings. Let's talk. I want to talk about money. I know that is not a popular subject. I know that is touchy. I know that can be a very emotional subject. And I know that is particularly emotional for a lot of us who don't have a lot of money. So, fortunately, I don't need anyone to disclose or talk about how much money they have. I'm not going to encourage you to become more open or transparent about your finances. That's not what this video is about. I just need you to hear me out because there are some questions that I feel like, at least in my experience locally with the FCA, we don't inherently answer, and I feel like we should. So one of the questions that a lot of new and prospective members ask is, what does it cost to be in the SCA? And the thing that a lot of more seasoned members, I swear we develop amnesia on this fact, is we tend to forget that the model most people have when they are walking up to the SCA is they are used to organizations like gym memberships or club memberships or like the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts, that type of thing where, if you want to be a member and you want, at least basic access, you have to pay, a certain figure, usually annual or quarterly dues or something like that. I know when I was practicing martial arts mundanely, there were monthly dues at the gym I trained at, that type of thing. That's the majority experience of people who join or who are walking up to the SCA. We are, and we sometimes refer to ourselves as a club. So that is the model that fits in their experience. And I want to talk about, for the benefit of newer or prospective members, I'm going to talk about why that model doesn't work. And for our more senior members, I just want to call attention to the fact this is a talking point that we should be a little more polished about in discussing, what type of investment is expected in the SCA. So, first of all, and I have a whole video about this, there is the question of actual paid membership. I have been very transparent about the fact I encourage people not to get a paid membership for their first year or 2 or 3 in the SCA, unless you are, playing exceptionally hard or you are becoming an officer relatively early. A membership probably won't benefit you, and that's an investment that I'm not going to encourage. If you look into it and you like it, great, but it's not something I'm going to start a conversation with. And then that becomes, okay, suppose you're not a member, what does it cost to be in the SCA? Well, on the one hand, it can be kind of pricey, but on the other hand, it can be very little cost at all. Now, let me explain that. Suppose my wife and I were going to an event this weekend. We're not, as it happens. It's a free weekend and we're doing house cleaning, but that's beside the point. Traditional site registration costs, I think right now, are about $20 a person. So right off the bat, it's $40 to walk in the door. If you are not a member of the society, there is, and this is based on society policy, not local law, there is a non-membership surcharge, which is, right now, currently it's an additional $10. So 20, if we were not members, that would be 20 plus 10 is 30 each. So that's $60 right there. Suppose there's a feast. Suppose there's an additional sideboard lunch. Or suppose there's a tavern. Any one of those could be additional cost. Let's say for argument's sake, it's $5 for a lunch sideboard, a little extra. So now we're at 20, 30, 35 each. That's $70 going to a weekend event. $70 between the two of us. Now, if there's a feast, we're going to be eating dinner there. But for a lot of events lately, there is not a feast. It's the event adjourns just before or right during the classic dinner hour, and then the tradition is everyone, hops in their car and goes out to some local eatery or restaurant and will, get with their friends and we hang out. It's a great social opportunity, a great chance to sit around and kibitz and talk and catch up and all that. That's eating out. Even at a cheap location, that's another, between dinner and the drink, that could be $25, $30 a head. So let's see, 70, 80, 90, 100. And we're at $120 for the weekend, not counting gas, and then not counting any incidentals, if I wanted to pick up a soda on the way there, or if I had to stop on the way for the drive home, 2-hour drive home, I may get a drink, something like that. That's a not small investment. For a new member who is, suppose he and his girlfriend, or he and his wife, or she and her spouse, whatever, wanted to do an event, that's a chunk of change. And that's just one weekend. So if we tell people about that, that's a valid and fair and accurate summary of the cost to go to an event. It is. But of course, those of us who have been playing a while know there's another half, actually another arguably 3/4, 9/10 of this conversation. And that is what's sometimes referred to as playing locally. I have, just for a couple of examples, I go to monthly Populous meeting here in my home barony. I've been able to make a handful of times, arts and science classes, which are on Monday nights. I've been attending rapier practice for just under a year now at this point. That's Wednesday nights. I have been to a number of workshops on Saturdays, which are local. And that's, once or twice a month for a year now. And I've just recently been able to get back to archery. Now they've moved it to a time that doesn't conflict with another scheduled activity I do mundanely. So I'm now going to archery every Sunday, that they have it. And do those cost me anything? No, there's some incidental expenses like I have to pay gas. It's a bit of a drive. Really $1 a week as close as stuff is to me. After fighter practice, the tradition is we all go out to a local fast food place and grab drinks and ice cream or something. So a couple of dollars there, but it's not a big deal. The classes I personally have never had to pay to attend a class. There have been a few classes where in order to participate in the class, the instructor will ask you to pay them for the materials they're bringing, that type of thing. But that's, it's a once or twice a year deal. And maybe it's $5, maybe it's $20, but that'll be talked about well in advance. And for people who don't want to participate but want to watch, there's usually never a problem with watching, just standing up in the corner and taking notes on what the class is talking about. So you could do a whole year of that and probably rack up a bill of maybe $100 over the course of a whole year. Are there some things you will probably need to buy over the course of that year? Yes. Like, for example, I am investing in some new rapier equipment. I know last year I put on my Christmas list a proper fencing mask and gloves. Could I have gotten those out of my own pocket? Yeah, but I started trying out fencing right around November, actually. It was either October or November. And I got into it and I liked it, so it was a good time for a Christmas list item. But I'm also I'm looking to invest in a little bit of new garb this year. There are things that will come up, and some of them are big ticket items. Like I'm looking at getting a new sword, and that's $150, $200 depending on what sword I get. So it's not that all of this is absolutely without any expense, but that's a year's worth of activities, and our budget is already just barely breaking even with what might be a typical one Saturday event. And that obviously for people who are not part of the SCA, people who are still trying to feel out, well, do I want to join? And they're curious about what does it cost. The next logical question is, well, how many events do I have to go to, and how many local things can I go to? And the fact of the matter is that now becomes a question of, why do you want to be in the SCA? What are you looking for? Versus, what are you doing in the SCA? If you are someone who is athletic and ambitious and extremely physical and wants to get into the martial arts, you can attend fighter practices all year. That's fine. But, you're probably looking to get competitive. You're probably looking to get into a tournament. If you practice for 6 months and you're really ramped up and you've got some skills and your friends are like, hey, you're ready to enter a tournament, then yeah, maybe what you're looking for is going to kind of suggest that you do 1 or 2 events a month for the fall season kind of thing. But that's a nuanced conversation we need to have with the individual. And for our more seasoned members, something that I tend to tell people is that when money gets tight, as someone who's been there many times in his life, all you need to do these days is have a cracked transmission, or a pet get sick, or a major appliance go out, and you can watch your eventing budget go out the window for 6 months to a year easily. Does that mean you have to stop playing the SCA? I mean, does money alone automatically say, no, you're not going to go play? Not necessarily. For me, for my wife and I, one of the balances we have struck has been, when money gets tight, sometimes we talk about, okay, we're not going to make as many events. There's a couple of critical events we're definitely going to make, but we're not doing 1 or 2 events a month anymore. We're going to hit like the 4 or 5 in the fall, and our 2 local events in December, and then in the spring, and then maybe 1 or 2 other events. But that's half of the regular routine we were hitting when we were a little more solvent, a little more flexible on our travel schedule. So these are all things that we, at least for me locally, we don't like to discuss. Nobody wants to discuss money. No one wants to say they're strapped for cash. No one wants to say they're broke. I know I hate saying it. I've been there. I'll just openly admit that. And if we were talking about a gym membership or a club membership or something with regular fees, the conventional modern logic is those are things that would be cut because we don't have the money. The SCA doesn't fit into that model, and that's something we don't talk about. At least I don't see us talking about. It's something we really don't engage with new members about. So when someone joins, when someone comes up and asks, someone inquires about the SCA, and the inevitable question comes up, well, what does it cost? I would really like to see a more nuanced conversation about, well, there's some nuance here. There's some options. It might cost a little bit, it might cost a lot, it might not cost you anything, but we've got options, and fortunately, all of those options offer you an opportunity to go find and build community, which is, in the end, what a lot of us are looking for here. See, I told you, I don't want to know about your finances. I'm not asking anyone to show me their checkbook or tell me how much money they have. What I want us to do is to keep in mind the nuance of that conversation and be able to vocalize it, especially for our newer members. I know a lot of us have been there. A lot of us have had to roll back activities because money was tight, and it does suck for those of us that are used to doing a lot of events. But at the same time, I wouldn't give up the local meetings I attend for a heartbeat. These guys, these people are an amazing community for me, and this is the heart of the SCA for me right here in Beeson Foyers, the forensic community here. And that, I'll tell you, doesn't cost me a damn thing. Oh, I hope I bless you all with fat wallets and happy times ahead, and hope you can make all the events you want to. And for those of you who may be facing some challenges, I'll pray for you. But until next time, I'll see you at the next event. Goodbye. God bless. If there are two things I've learned that drive videos these days, it's controversy and engagement. Now, I am never going to fly the controversy flag on a regular basis. It's not what I'm here for. It's not the content I want to make, and I really don't think it helps any of us. But let's do engagement. If you like this video, please go down in the comments and leave a comment. Make sure to share the video. And last but not least, easiest of all, make sure to like the video. That helps drive the algorithm. It helps get the video views and helps promote this material. Thank you very much.